What is good, everyone? Hope you're all doing well. In this video, we'll be taking a quick in-depth look of iOS 12 on some few changes that Apple didn't fully talk about in iOS 12 during its presentation that I just had to share with you guys. Now, iOS 12 will only support the newest iPhones all the way to the iPhone 5S, the newest iPad all the way to the Mini 2, the iPad Air, the iPad 5th Gen, and all the other iPad Pro models. And surprisingly, also, the iPod Touch 6th Gen will also be compatible for iOS 12. Now let's go ahead and take a look at some changes that I just had to share with you guys. So let's begin with voice memos. Voice memos was a very interesting one since it was one that wasn't really talked about as much. But if we look at the app, not only was the icon changed, but now whenever you end your voice memo, by default it will label them like this. But now each time when a new memo is done being recorded, it will now label itself on the location on where it was created. And of course, due to privacy, I'm blurring mine, but it's now labeling each memo on the location on where it was taken. Another thing that's new on iOS 12 that wasn't really fully talked about was QR code. There's now a shortcut for a QR code reader on your control center. So of course, you scan it on your phone, it'll automatically take it to that said link. Now this isn't anything new. This was also available on iOS 11, like this one for example. It's just, I guess, some people were probably unaware of the QR code capability that the iOS camera app had, and now decided to put it there for the control center for people to stop downloading third-party applications, which makes sense because I can imagine some older non-techie person not knowing about this, so that's kind of cool. The notification tab also got a small redo improvement. Not only are the labels a bit darker, but the app's notifications are finally stacked up all together, similar to like what Android was doing. And now we are able to also clearly selected apps much more easier too. Oh, that's cool. And of course, like we see here, this is of course the beta version of iOS 12, so there's going to be a couple minor bugs or so, like what you saw. And the multitask page also got a much needed improvement as well. What normally required us to hold for a few seconds for the red marker to pop up, we can now simply swipe up to force close these said apps. The battery stats in the settings is now also giving us more information than it did before. It now will change the path green to whatever battery mode the phone was in. So the red was obviously under 20%, but if we enabled low power mode, this would be yellow. A bit neat for anybody looking for these kind of records. Now, Do Not Disturb also got a few new updates and features. Not only can we 3D press to then be given 3 different modes: enable Do Not Disturb for an hour, Do Not Disturb until tomorrow morning, but a very useful one is Do Not Disturb until I leave this location. This one definitely comes in handy, especially when, let's say, you're in a movie theater watching a movie, and instead of leaving the movie theater and forgetting that you had this enabled, this will automatically disable itself once you leave that said location. Very useful, right? They also gave us users a new schedule bed mode, which when enabled, you'll set a schedule when you want your phone to automatically go into this mode, and will black out your home screen, eliminating any kind of distractions. And once the schedule ends, it will prompt you with today's weather. But let's go back and you have to check on something. You still have access to your widgets, and if you slide down, you'll still see your latest notifications. So a new app that got integrated on iOS 12 is the measuring app. This measuring app is really cool, but I still feel it needs some improvement. Although this is indeed the beta, there's a couple of times where it's just off by a couple. It's just really weird, but when you're making straight lines, it works just fine. But if you're making like L-shaped patterns or so, if you go back, you're gonna see some of the measurements being quite off. So hopefully they make some improvements. Of course, this is just a beta, but that's something that needs to be noted. But that's pretty much everything in a nutshell that I wanted to quickly highlight on iOS 12 that needed to be talked about a bit more. But do I regret on downloading the iOS 12.3 public beta? No, it's actually pretty cool. Yes, you will encounter some bugs, so if you're deciding on downloading the 12 beta, make sure you did back up your device. But from my experience, I haven't ran into any issues that pretty much will turn my phone into a brick. So far it's running good. Let me know down in the comment section down below if you downloaded the public beta. If so, what are some bugs that you experienced? Maybe I'll make this into a next video of a bunch of the funny little bugs that you guys found out and I have experienced as well in possibly a future video. So feel free to comment down below. But as always, make sure you like and subscribe to the channel if you're not, and I'll catch you guys in the next video. Peace.